Shalom, shalom, welcome. My name is Brother OBADIYAH YSRAYL, and welcome to another video from Israelite Heritage. Today's video, what we're going to talk about is actually entitled Esaw, the Hebrew, and the White Man Myth. Esaw, the Hebrew, and the White Man Myth. This video right here will go to combat that lie that is being propagated right now big time all over YouTube and all through certain Israelite congregations and online teachings. And this is the myth, this is the lie, that Esaw that is mentioned in scripture, and we're going to read about Esaw briefly. Esaw that is mentioned in scripture, they say that this is the father of the European nation. He is the white man. Some say, well, he's not the white man, he's not, the father of all the white people, but he's the white Jew. So we're going to see in scripture, is that correct? Because we see that there's a great misunderstanding about who Esaw is. Esaw, I'm going to start off right here telling you, is not the white man, as they call him, the European, the Gentile. He is not. So what we're going to do right here in part one is this. We're just going to break it down from the scriptural understanding of who Esaw was. Then we're going to come back with part two. We're going to break it down from the scriptural understanding who the so-called white man is. Because it's all in the book. It's all in the book. And you have those who have not read the book or just had not understood it, making up this false doctrine. I hear it all the time. Oh, we got to go get Esaw. Oh, Esaw is doing this. Esaw is doing that. You don't even know who Esaw is, so how in the world do you know what Esaw is doing? Let's break it down. Esaw. Esaw was the son of Abraham's son Isaac. Okay, our father Abraham. Let's read about Abraham. We're going to go to Genesis chapter 14, verse 13, because Abraham was the first in scripture to be called Hebrew. Abraham had a son named Isaac, and Isaac had two sons named Jacob, and one was named Esaw. So if Isaac was born from Abraham, and Abraham was a Hebrew, what do you think that make Isaac? Doesn't that make Isaac a Hebrew? Isaac got married to Rebekah, who was also a Hebrew. So if Isaac and Rebekah, who are the parents of Esaw, if both of them are Hebrews, then what does that make Esaw their son? It also make him what? A Hebrew. So if you're saying that Esaw is the white man, what you're actually saying is that the white people are Hebrews. That's what you're saying. Because Esaw was what his parents were. Both of his parents were Hebrews. Look at this. Genesis chapter 14, verse 13. Bereshit in Hebrew. It says this. And one who had escaped came and informed Abram the Hebrew, for he dwelt by the terebinth trees of Mamre, the Amorite, brother of Ascod, and brother of Abner, and they had a covenant with Abram. So we see that Abram, our father Abraham right here, is the first to be called a Hebrew in scripture. And so this title Hebrew passed from Abraham to his son Isaac. And Isaac was a descendant of Abraham, which made Isaac also Hebrew. I'm going to read from you Genesis chapter 17, verse 9. Genesis chapter 17, verse 9. And this is what it says. I'm sorry. Wait. I think it's verse 9 I want to go to. It says, You know what? I want to go to verse 21. Genesis chapter 17, verse 21. That's where I want to read from. Genesis 17:21, not verse 9, but 17:21. It says, But my covenant I established with Isaac, or Yitzchak, whom Sarah is to bear to you at this set time next year. So Yah is making a prophecy to Abraham. You're going to have a son named Isaac, and with his covenant I'm going to make Abraham. So the covenant passed from the hand of Abraham into his son Isaac's hand. So Isaac was what his father was, what his parents were. Isaac's parents were Hebrews. And so Isaac being a Hebrew and his wife being a Hebrew, they gave birth to Hebrew children. Let's go to Genesis chapter 25 and see the birth of Isaac's two sons, Jacob and Esaw. Because this is where the false doctrine has crept in. Because they have misunderstood the word used here, red. They say, well, since Esau was born red, he got to be the white man. Red in scripture does not have any association with white. And we're going to see this right now. Genesis chapter 25, and I want to read to you starting at verse 24. Genesis 24:25, because this is the birth of the twins Esau and Jacob, and they are the sons of Abraham's son Isaac. So these are Abraham's grandsons, and Abraham was what? The first to be called the Hebrew. And we see that Yah said, I'm going to make my covenant, I'm going to establish my covenant with Isaac, Yitzchak, your son Abraham. So in Genesis chapter 25 verse 24, this is what it says. It says, and when the days were filled for her to give birth, and see, twins were in her womb. Verse 25. And the first came out red all over, like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. Let's stop right there. Red all over, like a hairy garment. The red that is associated with Esau is being compared to a hairy garment. They didn't say that he came out red all over, as if they didn't say that he was hairy and red all over. No, they said he was. He came out red all over like a hairy garment. Like a hairy garment. They didn't even mention and say that he was hairy, but like a hairy garment he was born. So what hairy garment are they talking about? More than likely it's a camel hair garment, because camel hair garments was popular back in that day, and the camel hair is reddish brown. If you look at a camel, his hair is reddish brown. So he was red all over like a hairy garment. So whatever hairy garment that they were talking about, Esau looked like that little hairy garment. He was red. His red was likened to the color of that hairy garment. But notice that they named him Esau. Esau in Hebrew means rough. That's all it means. So his red was not that standoutish that they gave him the name red. But he got the name red, which is Adonai, later on in his life, because the man Esau became Edom. And Edom in Hebrew means red, because it comes from the Hebrew word Adonai. So we're going to see why he was called red later on in life. But we see when he was born, the title Edom was not given to him. He was called Esau, which means rough. Then we go to verse 26 of Genesis chapter 25, and it says, afterward his brother came out with his hand holding onto Esau's heel, so his name was called Jacob, or Jacob. And Yitzchak was 60 years old when he bore them. So he had twins at 60 years old. And so Jacob came out holding on to the heel of his brother. And the name Jacob or Jacob means heel supplanter or heel catcher. So when we get names in Hebrew, it is always according to our culture. Our names describe our character. My name, Obadiah, means servant of Yah. And so we get names according to the character of the person. So we see that the birth of Esau and Jacob was on that wise. And we see that father Jacob came, he was the second born, Esau was the firstborn, and that name means rough. So he was born red like a hairy garment. Red like a hairy garment. So the word red here is the Hebrew word Adonai. Adonai. And this word means red. Red. So when it says that he was born red all over, it was referring to the Hebrew word Adonai. Now, here's the interesting point. If you want to say that the red that he was born with, that Jacob was born with, meant that it was somehow associated with white, which it wasn't, let me read something to you about our King David. If you go to the book of 1 Samuel, 1 Shemuel, and we're going to see something written about King David, chapter 17, verse 42. Because this word Adonai was also used to describe David. So we go to 1 Samuel chapter 17, and we're going to read verse 42 and look at what it says. Really quick, it says in verse 42, and when the Philistines looked about and saw Dawid or David, he despised him, for he was a youth and ruddy and good looking. So it says that David was ruddy. This word ruddy also means Adonai. It means red. He was reddish. Now, if you want to say that Esau, because he was born red like a hairy garment, if you want to say that he was white, then you have to say that King David, the Israelite, was white. But we know that neither King David or Esau were white men, because they were both Hebrews, and the Hebrews were a black-skinned people. They were born from Hebrew parents. They were born from Hebrew parents. Now, in Hebrew, the word for white is Laban. L-A-B-A-N, Laban. That's the Hebrew word for white. And so we only see that word associated with Hebrews when we